The vast chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with worried whispers. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the room. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes, and a few even floated in the air. They all shared one thing: fear. At the center of the chamber, a hologram showed a massive fleet of spaceships. These ships belonged to the Zoraks, a cruel alien race from the edge of the galaxy. The Zoraks wanted to rule everything, and they were coming to attack. Grakthar, the leader of the council, raised his 4 arms to quiet the room. His green skin shimmered under the bright lights. "Friends," he said in a deep voice, "we face a great danger. The Zoraks are on their way. We must decide how to stop them." A tall, thin alien with blue fur stood up. "We should fight," he yelled. "Our weapons are strong. We can win." But then, a small, round alien rolled forward. Its single eye blinked sadly. "No, no," it said. "The Zoraks are too powerful. We should hide. Maybe it will not find us." The room erupted in shouts. Some agreed with fighting, others with hiding. No one could agree. In a corner of the room, ignored by everyone, sat 2 humans. Tom and Sarah watched the aliens argue. They looked at each other, confused and worried. "I don't think they remember we're here," Tom whispered to Sarah. Sarah nodded. "They never do. They think we're too weak to help." The arguing went on for hours. The council tried to make plans, but every idea had problems. Fighting seemed too dangerous. Hiding seemed impossible. Trying to talk to the Zoraks seemed useless. As the day went on, the mood in the room got worse. The aliens started to lose hope. Some even began to cry, their tears falling in strange colors. Tom and Sarah felt bad for the aliens. They knew that Earth was part of the galactic community, even if it wasn't very important. If the Zoraks won, Earth would be in danger too. "We should say something," Sarah said to Tom. Tom looked unsure. "But what can we say? They never listen to us. They think humans are cowards." Sarah stood up. "We have to try. Maybe we can help." She walked to the center of the room, her steps echoing in the large chamber. Some aliens looked at her with surprise. Others didn't even notice. "Excuse me," Sarah said, her voice shaking a little. "We have an idea." Grakthar, the council leader, looked down at Sarah. He seemed confused, as if he had forgotten humans were there. "You? But you're human. What could you possibly suggest?" Sarah took a deep breath. "On Earth, we have a saying: the best defense is a good offense. Maybe we shouldn't wait for the Zoraks to attack. Maybe we should surprise them first." The room went quiet. The aliens looked at each other, surprised. They had not thought of this. Tom stood up and joined Sarah. "We could send a small team to scout the Zoraks' fleet. Maybe we could find a weakness, or sabotage their ships." Grakthar's eyes widened. But such a mission would be very dangerous. Who would volunteer for that? Sarah and Tom looked at each other and nodded. "We would," they said together. The aliens in the room gasped. They could not believe what they were hearing. Humans volunteering for a dangerous mission. It didn't make sense to them. Grakthar leaned down to look closely at the 2 humans. "You would risk your lives for the galaxy. But we always thought humans were cowards." Tom smiled. "You're wrong about us. Humans can be brave when it matters. And right now, the whole galaxy matters." The council room was silent for a moment. Then, slowly, the aliens began to nod. Maybe these humans had a point. Maybe this crazy plan could work. Grakthar stood up tall. "Very well," he said. "We will consider your plan. But remember, if we agree, you will be facing great danger. Are you sure you want to do this?" Sarah and Tom looked at each other again. They were scared, but they knew this was important. They turned back to Grakthar and said, "Yes, we're sure." As the council began to discuss this new plan, the aliens in the room looked at the 2 humans with new respect. Maybe these small, strange creatures from Earth were braver than anyone had thought. Maybe, just maybe, they could help save the galaxy. The news of the Zorax threat spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On Earth, people went about their daily lives, unaware of the danger lurking in the stars. That was about to change. One sunny morning, as people rushed to work and school, every screen on the planet suddenly flickered. TVs, phones, computers, all showed the same image. A stern-looking alien with 4 arms and green skin. People of Earth, Grakthar's voice boomed. I am Grakthar, leader of the Galactic Council. We face a grave threat. The Zorax, a powerful and cruel race, plan to conquer our galaxy. We need your help. In New York, a hot dog vendor named Mike dropped his tongs. In Tokyo, a young student named Akira gasped, her textbook falling to the floor. In Lagos, a teacher named Adebayo hushed his excited students. Grakthar continued, we seek brave volunteers for a dangerous mission. This may be our only hope to save the galaxy. If you wish to help, report to your local government offices. As the message ended, the world erupted in chaos. Some people panicked, rushing to stock up on food and supplies. Others argued, unsure if the message was real. But in every country, in every city, a few brave souls stepped forward. At a small town hall in Midwest America, Sarah's parents watched in shock as she signed up to volunteer. Honey, are you sure? Her mother asked, worry lines creasing her forehead. Sarah nodded, her eyes bright with determination. Mom, Dad, I have to do this. It's not just about us anymore. It's about everyone, everywhere. Across the ocean in India, Tom stood in a long line outside a government building. The hot sun beat down, but he didn't mind. He thought about his little sister, his parents, his friends. He thought about all the people on Earth who didn't even know aliens existed until today. I have to try, he whispered to himself. As days passed, volunteers from every corner of the Earth came forward. They were old and young, rich and poor, from all walks of life. What united them was their courage and their desire to help. The alien diplomats watching this were amazed. I thought humans were cowards, one whispered to another. Look at them now. They're lining up to face danger they can't even imagine. A week after Grakthar's announcement, spaceships landed on Earth to collect the volunteers. In a field outside London, hundreds of humans stood in neat lines, ready to board. An alien captain, tall and blue-skinned, walked down the line, inspecting the volunteers. He stopped in front of a young woman with bright red hair. Why did you volunteer? He asked, his voice curious. The woman smiled. Because it's the right thing to do, she said simply. The captain nodded, a new respect in his eyes. As the first group of humans boarded the spaceship, crowds gathered to watch. People cheered and waved flags. Some cried, knowing they might never see their loved ones again. Inside the ship, Sarah and Tom found themselves sitting next to each other. I'm Tom, he said, offering his hand. Sarah shook it, smiling nervously. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you. Are you scared? Tom asked as the ship's engines began to hum. Sarah nodded. Terrified, she admitted, but also excited. We're going to see the stars, Tom. We're going to help save the galaxy. As the ship lifted off, leaving Earth behind, the humans inside felt a mix of fear and hope. They didn't know what challenges lay ahead. They didn't know if they would succeed or fail, but they knew one thing for sure. They were no cowards. Back in the Galactic Council chamber, Grakthar watched a hologram showing the human volunteers boarding the ships. He shook his head in wonder. Perhaps, he mused, we have underestimated these humans. They may be young and inexperienced, but their courage might just save us all. As the ships carrying Earth's volunteers disappeared into the vastness of space, a new chapter in human history began. The galaxy was about to learn that when it came to bravery and determination, humans were second to none. The massive spaceship hummed as it cruised through the stars. Inside, Sarah and Tom stood with hundreds of other human volunteers, their eyes wide with wonder. They were about to begin their training. A tall purple alien with 4 arms stepped forward. "Welcome, humans," it said in a deep voice. "I am Commander Zix. I will prepare you for the challenges ahead." The training began immediately. The humans were split into groups and led to different parts of the ship. Sarah found herself in a room filled with strange, glowing machines. "These are our weapons," a small green alien explained. It had big eyes and looked like a talking frog. "You must learn to use them." Sarah picked up a device that looked like a mix between a gun and a TV remote. "How does it work?" she asked. The alien sighed. "Just point and think. The weapon reads your mind." Sarah closed her eyes and fought hard. Suddenly, a beam of light shot out, nearly hitting the alien. "Oops. Sorry," she said, blushing. Meanwhile, Tom was in another room, learning about alien technology. A robot was teaching them how to use universal translators. "These devices allow you to understand all languages in the galaxy." The robot beeped. Tom put one in his ear and was amazed to hear the robot's beeps turn into clear words. Days passed, and the humans worked harder than they ever had before. They learned to pilot small spaceships, use advanced computers, and even how to survive in different alien environments. But it wasn't easy. Many aliens on the ship doubted the humans' abilities. "Look at them," one alien whispered to another. "They can barely hold our weapons without dropping them." "I heard they still use fossil fuels on their planet." Another alien laughed. "How primitive." Despite these comments, the humans kept trying. They helped each other, worked late into the night, and never gave up. One day, during combat training, an alien instructor challenged Sarah to a fight. "Let's see what you've learned," he said with a smirk. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped forward. The alien was twice her size and had sharp claws. But Sarah remembered her training. She moved quickly, dodging the alien's attacks. To everyone's surprise, Sarah managed to flip the alien over her shoulder. The room went silent. Then, slowly, the other aliens began to clap. In another part of the ship, Tom was working on a broken engine. The ship's engineers had been trying to fix it for days. Tom looked at it, remembering similar engines he'd worked on back on Earth. "What if we try this?" he said, making a small adjustment. Suddenly, the engine roared to life. The alien engineers looked at Tom with new respect. As weeks passed, the humans began to show real progress. They might not have been as strong or as smart as some aliens, but they were creative, adaptable, and determined. Commander Zix watched the humans with growing interest. One day, he called Sarah and Tom to his office. "You two have shown exceptional progress," he said. "I'm assigning you to lead a special mission." Sarah and Tom looked at each other in surprise. "Us?" Tom asked. "But we're just humans." Zix smiled, which was a strange sight on his alien face. "Perhaps that's exactly what we need. You humans think differently. You find solutions where we see none." As Sarah and Tom left Zix's office, they felt a mix of pride and fear. They had come so far, but the real challenge was just beginning. That night, as the ship sailed through the endless sea of stars, the humans gathered to relax. They sang songs from Earth, told stories about their homes, and shared their hopes and fears. "Do you think we can really make a difference?" one young volunteer asked. Sarah stood up, looking around at her fellow humans. "Look how far we've come already," she said. "We may be underdogs, but sometimes that's exactly what you need to win." As the humans cheered, even the alien crew members watching from a distance couldn't help but feel inspired. Perhaps these strange creatures from Earth were more than they seemed. Perhaps they really could help save the galaxy. The next day, as alarms blared throughout the ship, signaling the start of their first real mission, the humans were ready. They may have been afraid, but they were also brave. They were Earth's unexpected heroes. and they were about to show the galaxy what humans could do. The small spaceship glided silently through the dark void of space. Inside, Sarah and Tom sat at the controls, their faces lit by the glow of alien tech. 4 other humans and 2 alien guides made up their team. Their mission: to scout the edge of Zorax territory. Remember, the blue-skinned alien guide named Exor said, "We must not be seen. This is only to gather information." Sarah nodded, her hands steady on the controls despite her racing heart. Tom checked the ship's cloaking device one more time. It was Earth tech, modified with alien improvements. The humans had insisted on bringing some of their own inventions, much to the aliens' surprise. As they approached the border of Zorax space, everyone grew quiet. Through the view screen, they could see massive Zorax warships patrolling the area. The ships were dark and spiky, looking like angry metal monsters floating in space. "They're huge," whispered Lisa, one of the human crew members. "How are we supposed to fight those?" "We're not here to fight," Exor reminded them. "Just observe and—" Suddenly, alarms blared throughout their ship. Red lights flashed, and everyone jumped. "What's happening?" Tom yelled over the noise. The second alien guide, a small green being named Zeep, frantically worked at a console. "Impossible. They've detected us somehow." Sarah's mind raced. Their cloaking device should have kept them hidden. Unless the Zorax must have better sensors than we thought, she realized aloud. Before anyone could respond, a massive energy beam shot past their ship, barely missing them. "We've been fired upon," Xor shouted. "We must retreat." But as Sarah tried to turn the ship around, more beams filled space around them. They were trapped. "We can't run," Tom said, his voice surprisingly calm. "But maybe we can hide." He pointed to a nearby asteroid field. Sarah understood immediately. It was risky, but it might be their only chance. "Hold on, everyone," Sarah called out as she pushed the ship into a steep dive. They plunged into the asteroid field, giant space rocks tumbling all around them. The humans' video game skills suddenly became very useful. Sarah weaved the ship between asteroids with incredible precision, while Tom used the ship's small lasers to blast away rocks that got too close. The Zorax ships followed but struggled in the dense field. Their big warships were too clumsy for such tight spaces. "We're losing them," Lisa cheered, but their celebration was short-lived. A stray asteroid slammed into their ship, sending them spinning. Alarms blared again as they started losing power. "We're going to crash," Zeep cried out in panic. Sarah gritted her teeth. "Not if I can help it." With all her strength, she pulled up on the controls. The ship groaned but responded, leveling out just as they were about to hit a massive asteroid. Instead of crashing, they skidded across the asteroid's surface, finally coming to a stop in a deep crater. For a moment, everyone sat in stunned silence. Then Tom started laughing. Soon, they were all laughing, giddy with relief and disbelief at what they'd just survived. But they weren't safe yet. The Zorax ships were still searching for them. "Our power's low," Xor reported grimly. "We can't take off." "Then we repair," Sarah said firmly. "Tom, remember that science fair project you told me about? The emergency power generator?" Tom's eyes lit up. "You think it could work here?" "It's worth a try," Sarah said. While the aliens looked on in confusion, Sarah, Tom, and the other humans got to work. They took parts from the ship, pieces of the asteroid, and even some of their own equipment. In a few hours, they had built a makeshift generator. "This is madness," Thor muttered. "It cannot possibly." The generator hummed to life, and lights flickered on throughout the ship. Zeep's big eyes grew even wider. By the galactic core, they did it. With power restored, they were able to lift off. Using the asteroids as cover, they slipped past the Zorax ships and back to safe space. As they flew home, the mood on the ship was very different. The aliens looked at the humans with new respect. "We thought you were cowards," Kexor admitted, "but your quick thinking and bravery saved us all." Sarah smiled. "On Earth, we have a saying. Necessity is the mother of invention. When things get tough, humans get creative." As they docked with the main ship, news of their adventure spread quickly. The humans who had been seen as weak and cowardly were now being called heroes. Commander Zix met them at the airlock. "Well done," he said. "Your unorthodox methods may be exactly what we need to win this war." As Sarah and Tom walked away, tired but proud, they knew everything had changed. The aliens had underestimated humans, but they wouldn't make that mistake again. The real battle was just beginning, and Earth's cowardly humans were ready to show the galaxy what they could really do. The news of the human team's successful mission spread through the galaxy like a supernova. Aliens of all shapes and sizes gathered around screens, watching in awe as the story was told again and again. On the main Galactic Council ship, Sarah and Tom found themselves surrounded by curious aliens. Everyone wanted to hear about their adventure firsthand. "How did you think to use the asteroid field?" a tall, tentacled alien asked. Tom grinned. "Ever play space video games? It's a classic move." The alien looked confused, but others nodded, intrigued by this video game concept. Meanwhile, in the council chamber, Commander Zix was presenting the mission report. The room was packed, with even more aliens watching via hologram. The humans' unconventional tactics allowed them to gather crucial information about Zorak's defenses, Zix explained. "More importantly, they've shown us that the Zoraks are not invincible." A murmur of excitement ran through the crowd. For the first time since the war began, there was hope. Grakthar, the council leader, stood up. "It seems we have underestimated our human allies," he admitted. "Perhaps it's time we listen to more of their ideas." Back on Earth, the story of the asteroid field mission had become legendary. More humans were volunteering every day, eager to join the fight. In a small town in Japan, a group of teenage girls approached their local recruitment center. "We're here to volunteer," the leader said boldly. The alien recruiter looked skeptical. "You? But you're so young." One of the girls stepped forward. "Age doesn't matter. We have skills you need. I'm a champion drone racer. She's a hacker, and those two. They're the best strategists in our school's chess club." The recruiter's eyes widened. Maybe these young humans did have something to offer. As more humans joined the fight, they brought with them a flood of new ideas. Earth sciences, considered primitive by many aliens, suddenly became valuable. In a lab on the Galactic Council ship, Dr. Emily Chen, a human biologist, worked alongside alien scientists. They were studying Zorak's biology, looking for weaknesses. "What if we approach this like a virus?" Dr. Chen suggested. "On Earth, even the deadliest creatures can be taken down by something too small to see." The alien scientists were skeptical at first, but as they explored the idea, excitement grew. This could be the breakthrough they needed. On the battlefield, human strategies were changing the way the war was fought. Instead of relying only on advanced technology, they used clever tricks and unexpected moves. During one battle, a human captain named Miguel had an idea. "We can't outgun them," he told his alien crew, "but maybe we can outsmart them." Using old Earth naval tactics, Miguel set up a trap. He lured the Zorak ships into a narrow space between two planets, then ambushed them from all sides. The plan worked perfectly, leading to a major victory. As news of human successes spread, other races began to see them differently. The word cowardly was no longer used to describe humans. Instead, aliens spoke of human bravery, creativity, and determination. In a distant part of the galaxy, even the Zoraks were taking notice. Their leaders held emergency meetings, trying to understand how these primitive humans were causing so much trouble. "They're unpredictable," one Zorak's general growled. "We can't tell what they'll do next." Another Zorak slammed its fist on the table. We must crush them before they become an even bigger threat. Little did they know, their angry words were being heard. A tiny human probe, using stealth technology inspired by Earth insects, had infiltrated their base. It transmitted their plans back to the Galactic Council. When Sarah and Tom heard the transmission, they couldn't believe their ears. "They're scared of us," Tom said in wonder. Sarah nodded, a determined look in her eyes. "Good. They should be." In the council chamber, plans were being made. For the first time, humans were at the center of the planning. Their ideas, once dismissed as primitive, were now seen as the key to victory. Grakthar looked around the room, seeing hope on every face. "My friends," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "thanks to our human allies, we now have a real chance to win this war." As the council cheered, Sarah and Tom shared a proud smile. They had come so far from being the cowardly humans no one wanted. Now, they were leading the charge to save the galaxy. The tide of the war was turning, and humanity was the wave that would crash upon the Zorax and wash away their dreams of conquest. The galaxy was about to learn that underestimating humans was the biggest mistake anyone could make. The massive war room of the Galactic Council ship buzzed with activity. Aliens of all species huddled around holographic displays, discussing strategy. At the center of it all stood Sarah and Tom, now respected leaders in the fight against the Zorax. "We've pushed them back," Sarah said, pointing to a map of the galaxy. "But they're regrouping for one last, big attack." Tom nodded grimly. "This is it. If we don't stop them now, we might not get another chance." Commander Zik stepped forward, his forearms crossed. "What do you propose?" Sarah took a deep breath. "We need to strike at the heart of their fleet. Take out their command ship." A gasp ran through the room. It was a bold plan, maybe too bold. "That's suicide," an alien general shouted. "Their defenses are too strong." But Tom had a glint in his eye. "Not if we use what makes humans special." He explained the plan. It was crazy, risky, and unlike anything the aliens had ever considered. It combined human ingenuity with alien technology in ways no one had imagined. As Tom and Sarah laid out the details, the room grew quiet. Then, slowly, heads began to nod. Maybe, just maybe, this could work. Grakthar, the council leader, raised his hands for silence. "It's decided," he said solemnly. "We will follow the humans' plan. May the stars watch over us all." The next day, a fleet of ships gathered near the edge of Zorax space. At the front was a small, agile craft piloted by Sarah and Tom. Behind them, ships from every allied race in the galaxy waited, ready to fight. "Remember," Sarah's voice crackled over the comms, "we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every free world in the galaxy." Tom looked at the control panel, his hand steady despite his racing heart. "Ready?" Sarah nodded. "Ready." With a burst of speed, their ship shot forward, leading the charge into Zorax territory. At first, the Zorax seemed confused. Why would their enemies attack with such a small ship in front? Then, chaos erupted. Following the humans' plan, Allied ships began dropping what looked like space junk. The Zorax ignored it, focusing on the larger threats, but they had fallen into a trap. The junk was actually thousands of tiny robots, built using a mix of Earth and alien tech. As they floated past Zorax ships, they attached themselves to the hulls. Suddenly, Zorax ships began losing power. Their weapons went offline. Shields flickered and died. "It's working," Tom shouted, watching the displays light up with successful hits. But the Zorax weren't defeated yet. Their massive command ship loomed ahead, its weapons still blazing. "We've got to take it out," Sarah said, gritting her teeth. She pushed their ship into a steep dive, dodging energy beams and debris. Tom worked furiously at the controls, coordinating the attack. All around them, Allied ships pressed the advantage, taking out disabled Zorax vessels. As they neared the command ship, a lucky shot rocked their vessel, Alarms blared as systems began to fail. "We're losing power," Tom yelled over the noise. Sarah's mind raced. They were so close. They couldn't fail now. Then she had an idea. "Remember that video game trick you used in the asteroid field?" she asked Tom. His eyes widened. "You don't mean—" Sarah grinned. "Oh yes, I do." With the last of their power, they aimed their failing ship straight at the Zorax command vessel. At the last second, they fired their ejection pods. Their ship, loaded with the last of their robotic junk, slammed into the Zorax ship's main reactor. The explosion was blinding. As Sarah and Tom floated in their pods, they watched in awe as the massive Zorax command ship broke apart. All around the battlefield, Zorax ships began to retreat. Without their leaders, their will to fight crumbled. A cheer went up across all frequencies. Ships from every allied race swooped in to pick up Sarah and Tom. As they were brought aboard the Galactic Council ship, they were met with a hero's welcome. Aliens of all kinds cheered, some even trying to imitate the human custom of clapping. Grakthar approached, bowing deeply. "You have saved us all," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "The galaxy owes you a debt we can never repay." Sarah and Tom looked at each other, tired but proud. They had come so far from being the cowardly humans no one believed in. "We just did what humans do," Tom said simply. "We never give up." As news of the victory spread across the stars, one thing became clear. The galaxy would never underestimate humans again. The once ignored species from a small blue planet had become the saviors of the universe. The final stand was over, and humanity had led the way to victory. The grand hall of the Galactic Council was packed. Beings from every corner of the galaxy had gathered for this historic moment. At the center of the room stood Sarah and Tom, looking a bit uncomfortable with all the attention. Grakthar, the council leader, raised his four arms for silence. The room hushed. "Today," he began, his voice echoing through the hall, "we welcome Earth as a full member of the Galactic Council." A cheer went up, with aliens trying to clap, whistle, and make all sorts of celebratory noises. Sarah and Tom grinned at each other, hardly believing how far they'd come. As the noise died down, Grakthar continued, "The humans have taught us all a valuable lesson. True strength isn't about advanced technology or powerful weapons. It's about courage, creativity, and never giving up." Tom stepped forward to speak. He cleared his throat nervously. "On behalf of Earth, we're honored to join the Council. We promise to use our, unique human qualities to help keep the galaxy safe and peaceful." Sarah added, "And we hope to learn from all of you too. There's so much we don't know about the universe." The ceremony continued, with representatives from different alien races coming forward to welcome Earth. Some offered gifts, others proposed joint projects. The humans, once seen as primitive and cowardly, were now the most sought-after allies in the galaxy. Meanwhile, back on Earth, things were changing fast. The secret of alien life was out, and humans everywhere were adapting to their new reality. In New York City, alien tourists wandered Times Square, taking pictures with excited humans. Street vendors had quickly adapted, selling authentic Earth hot dogs to curious extraterrestrial visitors. In a small village in Africa, a group of alien scientists worked alongside human farmers, using advanced technology to improve crop yields. The aliens were amazed by the humans' deep connection to their land. At a university in Tokyo, human and alien students sat side by side, learning about galactic history and cultures. The classroom buzzed with questions and laughter as they discovered their differences and similarities. But not everything was perfect. Some humans were scared of the rapid changes. Others tried to take advantage of the situation for their own gain. In response, the Galactic Council set up a special team led by Sarah and Tom. Their job was to help Earth transition smoothly into the galactic community. "Remember," Sarah told a group of nervous government leaders, "we're not losing our identity. We're expanding it. We're still human, but now we're also citizens of the galaxy." Tom nodded, adding, "And the galaxy needs us to be ourselves. Our humanness is what makes us valuable." As months passed, the effects of Earth's membership in the Galactic Council began to show. Human music, art, and culture spread across the stars, fascinating alien societies. Earth foods became exotic delicacies on distant planets. In return, advanced alien technologies helped solve many of Earth's problems. Clean energy, improved medical care, and environmental restoration projects changed life for billions. But perhaps the biggest change was in how humans saw themselves. No longer isolated on their small blue planet, they had become part of something much bigger. 1 year after the defeat of the Zorax, a special ceremony was held on the moon. Representatives from Earth and hundreds of alien worlds gathered to unveil a monument. As the cover was pulled away, a giant statue was revealed. It showed a human hand and various alien appendages all clasped together. At the base, words in multiple languages read, "United in diversity, stronger together." Sarah and Tom stood in the front row, watching with pride. An alien child nearby tugged on Tom's sleeve. "Is it true?" the child asked, eyes wide with wonder. Were humans really once thought to be cowards? Tom smiled and knelt down to the child's level. "We were," he said, "but we proved that bravery isn't about never being afraid. It's about doing what's right, even when you are afraid." Sarah joined in, and we learned that every being in the galaxy, no matter how different they might seem, has something valuable to offer. As they looked out at the Earth hanging in the black sky, Sarah and Tom felt a sense of awe. Their world, once thought to be alone in the universe, was now a shining example of galactic cooperation. The story of the cowardly humans who saved the galaxy would be told for generations to come. It would remind everyone that heroes can come from the most unexpected places, and that together, united in their diversity, the people of the galaxy could face any challenge. In the vast cosmic dance of stars and planets, Earth had found its place, and the humans, once dismissed and underestimated, had become an essential part of the grand galactic family.